Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Thursday, June 3rd. Markets down considerably overnight. We got all sorts of weird things going on, man. Okay, so to the charts quickly. E-minis. So again, we've been stuck around this 4,200 area for quite some time. There's a bit of a gamma flip there, and in the overnight session, we have reached that level, and things have just turned outright bearish. I would expect that on the open, there would be some attempt to try and close the gap, again, as it is tradition, but it seems to me that sentiment has changed, and there are some pieces of news going out there. I'll cover that at the end to make sure that I get it all correct, but there's reasons. Okay, 10-year treasuries were up yesterday, but now dropping in. I think that, I want to be short the treasury here. Boom, boom, boom. The oil is doing okay. All right, but they seem to be affected by, the equity markets as well here. Gold and silver taking a dip overnight. Interestingly enough, failing 1900 here. And why? Because the dollar is becoming a flight to safety haven once again, which is kind of contradictory to the news that's moving us. I'll come back over here. We do have like the jobless claims and so forth come in here. Okay. And remember that markets still might, they're looking for that. They're looking for that big jobs numbers, the non-farms yet tomorrow, right? So should keep that in mind. Why is ADP the only big news that comes before the bonds open? I really wish I knew, Kevin. We should ask ADP. I mean, it's a company that releases it, right? So I don't know. I really don't know. It's weird to me. I wonder that every time that piece of news comes. And the ADP employment change was 978,000 versus 650,000, by the way. So the ADP number was really good. Yeah, something else going on, right? Okay, so I'm going to come over here because there was two big pieces of news here. News Squawk blog. So the thing I'm a little was a little where is it? Bum, 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 bum. The Russian National Wealth Fund is to exit USD assets with new structure expected to come into force within a month. Okay. I'll read their note on the dollar, okay? The more fundamentally based traders and analysts may put it down to pure coincidence, but those with heads in the charts will be aware that the Dixie recently probed the 21-day moving average on return from another retreat through 90, while the euro and sterling also rebounded off the same support levels versus the dollar on Wednesday, when the euro USD and cable hit lows around 1.2164 and 1.4112 respectively. However, the trade in the currency markets remains rather aimless and directionless overall, with a few notable exceptions, and others have also highlighted seasonal factors beyond the obvious tendency to keep positions relatively tight ahead of the monthly U.S. jobs data tomorrow. And they talk about the solstice and all of this stuff. Okay. So you've got Russia saying that they're going to exit U.S. assets. But then you've got the dollar market reacting as a flight to safety of sorts here. Okay, so we're getting the number here. Hold on a second. Okay, so continuing claims was slightly higher than expected. Just slight. Oh, no, wait. That was the 4-week. That was the continuing jobless claims. The initial claims was 386 versus 390, pretty close to in line. Okay. There was another big piece of news. What was the other big thing? Oh, yeah, AMC is going to offer more shares. Oh, man, that was like, whoa. Oh, yeah, U.S. Senate Republicans and the White House are said to remain hundreds of billions of dollars apart on the spending side in the infrastructure bill. So the Republicans are asking for a $250 million or billion bill, which is a lot, by the way. I mean, any other, in the past, we would have been like, wow, that's insane, right? But Biden wants $1 trillion. So, oh yes, the other big one. The Fed announced plans to offload its corporate bond and ETF holdings that were purchased last year. So I was like, I know there's a reason I'm bearish on treasuries. Why was I bearish? Okay, the Fed is going to be getting out of its holdings. Now, realize that the Fed has become quite efficient at its purchases, but when this happened last time, when they bought into it, everybody front ran them, right? Like they didn't even have to buy anything and it moved the market. So I think that we're going to see the same thing here in the bonds, and the bonds are going to sell a little bit. I think that's probably the impetus for the bonds trying to sell here on the open. Let's see here. When did things start? Things did seem to start after the ADP. So it seems that the ADP being really good kind of turned the bonds down to some extent. Then our continuing jobless claims didn't really change that at all. Although the downside since then has been limited. Okay. Make sure I get that out. Turn on my robot. Okay, so there's the three big things, right? Republicans and Democrats still very far apart on the infrastructure deal, Russia dumping its USD assets, and the Federal Reserve going to reduce its holdings of corporate bonds. I'm gonna blow my nose. I'm wondering, there's probably new, I don't know. I wonder how much the AMC thing is playing into this too. So again, AMC files to sell 11 million shares of stock, and the stock immediately tanks. 10% in the pre-market. Wipes out 20% pre-market rally. This time they're going to be selling them directly to investors, by the way. So, yeah. I say it's a smart move. I'm surprised that GameStop didn't do the same thing back when that was all going on, but whatever. And probably yesterday, I mean, from the action that we saw yesterday, by the way, just my opinion on the chart, that looks really strongly to me like liquidation action like margin calls, because it was very indiscriminate. It just went and went and went and went. Wow. They're going to have an interesting session here if it's just sell all the things. I mean, the dollar's up. I guess the dollar could stay up, huh? Really going to be really interesting to see gold and Bitcoin and so forth, what they do. The U.S. initial jobless claims was the first reading under 400,000 since the pandemic. Freaking cat turd. I wonder if cat turd is actually from the U.S. because he's up awfully early. Maybe he just wakes up early. Oh, yes. Well, the jobless claims number was pretty close to in line, but it seems that the media is, holding it as a victory here. Unemployment claims 385 versus 400. And yeah, that was pretty good. Revised unit labor costs 1.7%. E-mini is turning back up here. I was just thinking, it's a little quiet this morning, but then I'm like, oh no, the market is moving. Of course, everybody would be quiet. But I just keep thinking about this Russia thing. So, like, Biden and Putin, excuse me. Biden and Putin are supposed to have a meeting. And the other day, somebody asked him, do you think that Putin is testing you? And Biden was like, no. But then, like, you go back and you look at all of these things that are going on. They said, there will be some things ahead of that meeting that will make people uncomfortable, I think is what they said. So then you look around at what's going on. Okay, so Biden has made a couple of big mistakes here. One was that they were kind of starting to amass on Ukraine, and the United States decided to not put ships inside the sea there, they backed off on that. And then there was like a ceasefire. So I think that situation was a little bit more complex, but I think that it kind of makes Biden look weak. Then we've had 2 hacks. First of a power company, and then of a meat supply company. So key pieces of infrastructure. I would call them infrastructure. From Russian hackers. They say they don't think that it's from the Russian government, but it's not uncommon for the Russian government to use like crime syndicates to do their dirty work, right? Okay, so we had 2 of those. Then we had the Nord Pipeline, which Joe Biden just let them do, right? And now you've got this 5th thing, which is their sovereign wealth fund saying that they're going to dump all of their dollar assets. You don't think that Putin's testing you, huh? Like, when I look at this, I am like, what is going on over there? Because it seems to me like Joe Biden is making a series of really huge, long-reaching foreign policy mistakes in regard to Russia here. It looks like there were too many people like myself that tried to get short on the treasury and it's bouncing back. But it could just be the equity correlation. I don't know. They seem to be awfully positively correlated these days, don't they? Oh, where's my Japanese yen, by the way? 6J. There we go. The 6J took a pretty big plunge there, right after the jobless numbers. It's bouncing now. I am not fully on board with the maximalist anti-Fauci case that's been solidified by this recent Freedom of Information Act disclosure of his emails, but I wonder how many consumers of liberal media even know what the case is. Could they even articulate its most basic arguments? Asks Glenn Greenwald. Okay, so let's talk about this, because this is driving me absolutely batty. So there was a Freedom of Information Act disclosure. So they requested his emails and they got sent all of Fauci's emails. And the one email that they're focusing on in particular is Obama. Obama has staff still. And their staff, they know Fauci. So they asked him, hey, what's going on? Should we be wearing masks? And he said to them, no, you shouldn't wear masks. They're not very effective. They prevent spittle from going out, but the virus just goes right through them. And masks are really only to prevent the person that is sick from spreading it. And it doesn't really help you from not catching it. And that was always the conventional wisdom in regards to masks pre-pandemic. So people are saying, looking at that email, which was sent in February of 2020, they're looking at that email and they're saying, see, this is proof that Fauci has been lying to us the whole time. And it has very much put Fauci on the defensive. It has put the White House on the defensive, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Well, here's the thing. That is no different than what Fauci was saying to the American public in press conference after press conference from February until I want to say early April, right? He was saying the same thing in the emails that he was saying on TV to the public. It was like, did you guys, I'm just watching all the people on the right and I'm like, so did you guys all forget all of these memes that you made about how Fauci flipped on the masks, and then you're finding out that, oh, Fauci was being consistent and telling people the exact same thing in private correspondences too. Okay, so everything is in line. If he had said don't wear masks, that would be a bigger scandal. If it was a bigger scandal that he was telling the American public masks don't do anything, maybe because he wanted there to be more masks available to health professionals, but then behind the scenes he was telling his buddies, actually, you want to have masks, that would be a scandal. But that's not what happened. He was 100% consistent, up until the point at which the medical community kind of flipped on this and said, actually, maybe there's a better case for wearing masks than we originally thought. And I think that was actually justified. Granted, they didn't have an empirical study that showed that masks would slow the spread or anything, but they did have some empirical study about how masks actually reduced the amount of viral load that was actually put into the air. And so I think that it was, an okay idea to tell everybody, like, hey, maybe you should have masks. They took it way too far. And now more recent studies have shown that despite that, understanding the mechanism and everything, that it really just doesn't prevent the spread, which I think makes sense. I mean, in retrospect, makes sense that, that's not how people are catching it anyways, and that it just spreads anyways. So that is the argument that is going on with Dr. Fauci. And it just drives me crazy because I'm like, you guys are either, I mean, I get it. It's like the game and everything. But when I look at my friends on the right, and particularly on the Donald, I'm sitting here like, okay, you are either one, clueless and not paying attention to the news, or two, just saying shit to try and push your political agenda because you know that email doesn't provide anything new to us. So yeah, I find that frustrating. And apparently Greg Greenwald does too. Man, I thought that one would have gotten Uzi going, but he didn't even say anything. Yeah, this is interesting. So I was pretty good. You know what? The treasuries have done this to me in the past before. It's like you get this really strong, you get this good strong move down, and it seems like, okay, yeah, this could trend all day. It's in line with everything that you see. And then they just paradoxically go up to the other side of the range. This is what can make the treasuries so frustrating. Yeah, the E-mini, on the other hand, I'm looking at the E-mini and I'm thinking, okay, well, they had kind of been on an uptrend before the news. It didn't really react to the news. So I don't know if this uptrend has anything to do with the news items that we received, but it does kind of look like they're just kind of bouncing, like they need to do a bit dead cat bounce. So now I'm wondering, is this something that's going to continue? And it's going to be a buy the dip gap fill kind of day, because that certainly is the way that tape kind of looks to me at the moment. But then I also kind of have to wonder, okay, they were down overnight, and there's a lot of fundamentals I think that could be bearish here. But I suppose we also have to wonder which one is the ringleader here, the E-mini or the treasuries yields. because they seem very positively correlated right now. And it kind of seems to me like the Treasury is reacting to the E-mini. They've been overdone because of meme stocks maybe rallying, and it was a delayed reaction. I expected them to dump yesterday too. Well, yeah, that's an interesting observation, Vlad. I'm glad you pointed that one out. So the basket of most shorted stocks was up big yesterday, and as a result, the long short equity funds were dumping shares on the market yesterday. So a lot of those favorites like Apple, for instance, would be a good example, saw a lot of selling as a result yesterday. So like some deleveraging. And it appears that was at least partly responsible for some of the downside that we saw yesterday. Not that yesterday's downside was like huge, okay? Like there was the sell-off in the morning, and then that sell-off was really just back to the balance area that we've been in for the past like 2 weeks, right? There was a little bit of a push at one point. When was that? Kind of more after lunch. But then in the end, they did end up pushing up, and there was like a panic bid into the close. We got to see how these memes... Well, I think that the meme stocks are going to be down today, right? Because AMC is offering 11 million shares. In fact, you know what? I was just saying to myself, I've been avoiding opening up Active Trader Pro because sometimes it's been slowing the system down. But I went in and I deleted a bunch of charts, and I changed the update interval to 5 seconds, even though for some reason it was not using that 5-second interval yesterday, which was really weird. But maybe it'll start using it now. I'll put this in here. Okay, I'll bring that up so that we got our look at the markets. Okay, so there's AMC in the pre-market, right? Oh, come on. Can I not? 2 days. There you go. I want 5 days, really. There you go. Oh, no, 2 days is enough. Okay. So there was a pretty decent climb overnight, but then they announced that they were going to offer 11 million shares, and it just cratered. But they're still above some key points. So like I'm going to say 60. Let's use the round number. 60 seems like a key point there for the AMC goons. So what we can call them. I shouldn't call them goons. I mean, more power to them. They made money. BBY, BB, SPCE, UONE, Nokia, COS, and BYND, all part of this meme. Yeah, I don't know, man. Here's the issue, is that Bed Bath & Beyond and AMC are the only two on that list that I'm really would feel like, you know, jumping on a bandwagon to invest in long term. You know what I mean? The rest of them are all just, you know, trying to squeeze out hedge funds, and it's only there because there's a lot of shorts. Granted, there's a lot of shorts, but I don't know. And here again, like I was kind of saying this on Reddit. I don't think I said it on stream, but remember this whole square root law of market impact and how basically there's formulas invented by Algren and Chris. Well, I wouldn't say a formula. Let's say there was a study by Algren and Chris in 2000 that the industry has used since then for efficient execution. And a part of it is basically that they need to space out their purchases to allow the order book to reset. Okay. So if you see a move that just goes and goes and goes, and the order book is never given that chance to reset, then you got to think about why. One reason why would be like big news, right? You have big news and the market's just trying to price it in, and that will still kind of comes to these spots. You'll get like these, bear, what do we call them? Bear tails. It'll go up a little bit and then small pull back, up a little bit, small pull back. When you look at AMC, there was this one right here, and then there's this one right here, right? Yesterday's technical analysis on AMC. Here's my technical analysis. We're going to put in the title. AMC offers 11 more shares. AMC sells. Oh yeah, today's the 3rd. Let's see here. There was 2.8 million calls bought in AMC, trading like its whole stock float, and had 73 call walls, so it stopped, but 50 is balance area where they came back, and if no new option flow comes in, these diamond hands might fail by Friday. I think it could be faster than that, dude. So, look at this. Okay, you got this move and you got this move. Okay, yes, but there was halts. There was halts there, right? There was halts. But just look at the size of the moves. Parabolas, and they just go straight up. Big, huge moves. Okay, this is well beyond what the order book would normally support and so forth. So what is really going on here? I say that is liquidation. That has hallmarks of somebody getting a margin call, of a large hedge fund dumping its shorts, trying to just doing everything that it can to get out because they just cannot afford anymore to try and be efficient or anything like that, or they don't even have the choice, like somebody's doing it for them, right? That's what that looks like to me in AMC. Okay, so that's really important. That's really important because that suggests that a lot of shorts covered, and so a significant portion of the case in AMC is dead, right? If the shorts were liquidating yesterday, then the long case in AMC is weaker, and then you add on top of that them selling 11 million shares, and you have to say to yourself, okay, like if AMC does it again and says, well, we don't care, we're going to pump up again, then guess what? AMC can just sell another 11 million shares, right? Like now that this is the second offering that they've done, you think that they're going to stop if the Reddit army doesn't stop? No, it's like, oh, okay, you want to just keep buying it? Then by all means, we'll sell you all you want. So I say AMC is done. I think it's done. Personally. I wouldn't even, if it wouldn't even be a bad idea to try and get some puts. If you could afford them. Right? For the moment, though, they seem in the pre-market they seem to be trying to hold it, right? But yeah, fight it, because you ain't gonna be able to hold that. I don't think. JBS reopens all meat plants Thursday as crisis averted. ADP employment surges in May are led by a services rebound. What else have they got here in Zero Hedge? Futures were already looking shaky when they took a hit lower after the news that Russia would cut the dollar from its sovereign wealth fund, shifting to euros, yuan, and gold instead in an attempt to reduce exposure to U.S. assets amid threats of sanctions. Then they slumped even more on perfectly sizable news that AMC would offer 1.55 million shares in the at-the-market offering, with the E-mini sliding spot 6%. Nasdaq futures were hit harder, dropping 1%, even though the broader risk-off move did not help Treasury yields, which rose modestly, while the dollar barely dipped from its upward trajectory, even as Bitcoin rose again, approaching 40,000. Despite the hit to AMC following news of the equity offering, the stock still remains green on the day after soaring 95% the previous day, and although we saw a tremendous meme stock rally, it is now fading fast. After our post that Workhouse was the most shorted Russell 2000 name, the company soared earlier in pre-market trading. I don't want to have anything to do with Workhouse. Frothiness, it seems, is there, particularly on the retail side, which may be part of the caution being seen in the wider stock market ahead of non-farm payrolls on Friday. Yep, blah, 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 blah. So they are blaming the stock mania to some extent, or at least that's the story. I mean, if it's a case of AMC goes down, the rest of them are, but I don't think that's what's going on. I think that they're buying because AMC is going to go down. So do we want to buy the E-mini now? Actually, you know what? Now is not a bad time. It's like, Seth, you should be paying attention. No, it's low down in there. I've got all of my indicators are looking positive, and I feel like I have a good fundamental case for equity indexes to recover. So you say 120 for AMC? I don't think so. Here's my question for you, Askar. You say there are still lots of shorts. How do you know that? How do you know that? Do you realize how much money changed hands yesterday in AMC? There was an absolutely massive amount of volume yesterday. More than enough volume for any short to get out if they chose. And when you get this kind of action like this, or it just goes until it hits a stop and everything like that, I think that's short covering. So then you add on top of that, the AMC is offering 11 million shares. 11 million shares at 60. Okay. That's a lot. That's like 600, right? Yep, 660. You know what? When I get to like 11s and 12s, multiplication with 11s and 12s, I always feel unconfident and go to the calculator. I should go back and like make sure I have all those memorized up to 15 and feel confident about it. On Reddit, they talk about GameStop and AMC going to the moon just for giggles. What would happen if GS went into the thousands? I would sell it. I would sell it so hard. I would be like, thank you, sir. What? They're like three. What are they last? 381. Yeah. The Reddit guys even say 20,000. No, listen, here's what's going on over there is these guys think that if they pump it up as hard as they can, that everybody else will buy it and that they can make money off of that. I wouldn't trust those guys anymore. In fact, here, let me read you something. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So zero hedge is common here. And then there are obligatory risk factors, which make it very clear that the stock is only green because greater fools are selling to even greater fools. Extreme fluctuations in the market price of our Class A common stock have been accompanied by reports of strong and atypical retail investor interest, including on social media and online forums. The market volatility and trading patterns we have experienced create several risks for investors, including the following. The market price of our Class A common stock has experienced and may continue to experience rapid and substantial increases or decreases unrelated to our operating performance or prospects, or macro or industry fundamentals, and substantial increases may be significantly inconsistent with the risks and uncertainties that we continue to face. Factors in the public trading market for our Class A common stock include the sentiment of retail traders, including as may be expressed on financial trading and other social media sites and online forums, the direct access by retail investors to broadly available trading platforms, the amount and status of short interest in our securities, access to margin debt trading in options and other derivatives on our Class A common stock, and any other related hedging and other trading factors. Our market capitalization, as implied by various trading prices, currently reflects valuations that diverge significantly from those seen prior to recent volatility, and that are significantly higher than our market capitalization immediately prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And to the extent these valuations reflect trading dynamics unrelated to our financial performance or prospects, purchasers of our Class A common stock could incur substantial losses if there are declines in market prices driven by a return to earlier valuations. To the extent volatility in our Class A common stock is caused, as has been widely reported, by a quote-unquote short squeeze, which is coordinated trading activity, causes a spike in the market price of our Class A common stock, as traders with a short position make market purchases to avoid and or mitigate potential losses. Investors purchase at inflated prices unrelated to our financial performance or prospects, and may thereafter suffer substantial losses as prices decline once the level of short covering purchases has abated. And if the market price of our Class A common stock declines, you may be unable to resell your shares at or above the price at which you acquired them. We cannot assure you that the equity issuance of our Class A common stock will not fluctuate or decline significantly in the future, in which case you could incur substantial losses. So in their filing, they're basically saying you're a fucking idiot if you buy this now. That's my take. Wall Street Bet says a big ass pump and dump scheme. Yeah, wouldn't the market implode if these hedge funds busted? No, not necessarily. Base of sellers in the range of 50 to 70. I don't know if it matters, dude. I think it's a crazy risky play and should be avoided. Yeah, well, RJ, kind of what I'm getting at here is the other day they issued shares. And it was like, okay, this AMC is getting crazy. They issued shares, and then it's like, okay, it should be over, right? And then it just went up. It just went up more. So now they're offering more shares. And so what I'm seeing is retail traders saying, oh, like they can't stop it. It's just going to keep going up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I am saying, like, hold up here, man. Like, if you are buying here, that is like a crazy risky play. And if you are already long, you've got to think about taking profits. Like, you have got to think about taking. I am not giving financial advice. I am not a certified financial advisor. I am just talking about what I would do if I was long AMC. I would be taking the profits here. I would have taken the profits yesterday. And I would certainly be taking the profits on the open now that I know that they're going to offer 11 million shares. Because if they're going to offer 11 million shares, even if the stock tries to do the same thing, they try and squeeze it with Delta and everything and try and push it higher, then the company can sell it again. Right? So, I don't think that that's a fight you can win anymore, you know? Risk manager says you could short the stock and make a little money. You could. Well, I looked at it yesterday and I didn't think that it was worth it, to be honest with you. So when you look down in the option chain, the at the money options are like $3,000, minimum investment. Okay. But if you go back down into the single digits, there are options that you can buy for like cents, So there could be something there. There could be something there. Yeah. But it was like, if you bought them and AMC tanked pretty hard today and then you just took profits on the options at the end of the day, you don't want it, because you have a lot of decay risk there with that sort of a thing because you're so far out of the money, right? But you could make like $50, $100 in a day. But on the split side, if they were to continue going up, you could lose like 600 to 1,000. So the risk, the options pricing was such that the risks rewards didn't really make much sense to me. Didn't think that it was worth trying. Our borrowing costs significant. I didn't look at the cost to just short it. Probably it's hard to do that. Yeah. If I wanted to just be an outright short, I would do a synthetic short, right? But here again, you would have to have a minimum investment. So really the better call is to, if you have a lot of money, if you have a really good chunk of money, I think that the play here is to sell calls, especially if you're covered. Like if you, let's say you're a hedge fund, or not even a hedge fund. Say you're some sort of a mutual fund that has been long this stock just because you're long everything, and it's moved up here like this. What should you start doing? You should be writing calls. You should be writing calls, right? Because it is going to come back down, and the options are so expensive. You're just pocketing all of that volatility premium, right? So that's the best way to do it. If you don't own shares, then writing uncovered calls is like crazy risky, especially in a situation like this. I think you'd get away with it, but it's very reckless. I wouldn't do it. Your next option is puts. So you could buy puts at the money, and the value of them is probably going to go up and probably quite a bit. But then you get this what do you call it? The delta implosion that you kind of get afterwards. So like you would have to take your profits on it at the right time, because as the volatility decreases and that premium decreases, the value of your puts are going to decrease and offset what you made in the gamma in the stock moving, essentially. So buy just one. Yeah, if you're gonna just you're gonna put $3,000 on something, but that's not me. It's not me. No, sir. I was thinking about it. So you were saying, what would happen if GS? Because he was asking me why I thought that about GS, because they know that I own that one. I worked there and they gave me those shares. Well, there's another stock. I don't own them, but there's another stock that I would be interested in, and it is Activision Blizzard. So this one is not short covering. But the deal is Activision Blizzard has a CEO named Robert Kotick, or we call him Bobby. Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick is the biggest douchebag in the gaming industry. He is so hated by gamers. He used to be the manager of Atari, I think it was. Yep, ATVI. Of Atari, and everybody hated him when he ran Atari, because he is very much like the, I'm the business guy, I know the business kind of douche sort of a thing. And so he's an ardent feminist. No, he's like he's like sorry, what is the movie? Greed is good and so forth, right? Wall Street, the movie. He's kind of like one of those characters. Okay. He is the second highest paid CEO in the United States. His compensation as CEO is the second highest. It is the second highest, okay? And now that stock is up. So everybody is like, oh, he's doing a good job and so on and so forth. But if you look at his competitors, and the best example is Take-Two Interactive, which is ticker TTWO. If you look at Take-Two Interactive grossly outperformed Activision Blizzard in 2020, and they are still doing so in 2021. And particularly when you look at that, the sales of the last Call of Duty were a little bit lackluster, and there's concerns about the futures of their franchises, and their development studios are all like going downhill. Like Blizzard has lost all of its top talent. Blizzard has just been absolutely gutted. Okay, so if you are an investor in Activision Blizzard, I think that there is considerable reason to be concerned. The phone fell out of my pocket. I think if you're an investor in Activision Blizzard, there's reason to be concerned. Right now, it's like you're not going to lose money, but you are going to underperform compared to other gaming companies. But then, if there was a downturn, that would be bad. And there is a possibility that Activision could just go like straight out short, because that kind of looks like the direction the company is going. Okay, so I say that you have a pretty good case to oust Bobby Kotick as the CEO. At the very least, reduce his pay, right? I wonder, how much does he own? I wonder, how much does he own? Talk Activision investors. Okay, he's fine. He owns 0.56% of the company's total shares outstanding. So he doesn't own a significant portion of it for that to be a problem. Gecko? What is? Oh yeah, like a gecko. He's. I mean, I'm not saying that he's like a gecko, but he is kind of a Wall Street villain of sorts in the same frame. Like all of the gamers that have to interact with him hate him. Anyways, I think you can make a really strong case that he should be ousted as CEO. I don't know if, given the current markets, like when things are going up, that sort of thinking comes on. But if a major activist investor like David Einhorn, he's an activist investor. No, he's not. Who's the top activist investors? Carl Icahn or Bill Ackman. Okay. You got one of these guys in there. Icahn in particular. Okay, if Carl Icahn came in and he said, we're purchasing shares of Activision Blizzard and we're going to replace Bobby Kotick as CEO. Okay. I think that there's a lot of value that you could unlock in Blizzard by doing that and getting rid of him and changing the direction of the company. But more so than that, can you imagine how insane the Reddit army would go over that one? Like, you think that things were crazy when it was GameStop? Dude, if a battle like that was happening in Activision Blizzard and they felt that them buying their shares was going to save Activision Blizzard, holy crap, dude. It would be insane. It would be absolutely insane if you could engineer a takeover of Activision Blizzard. And if that happened, if Carl, I would have to know that there was a big guy doing it, okay? Because I don't have that kind of influence. But if Carl Icahn came out and said, I am buying Activision Blizzard shares and we're going to oust the CEO, I would put every bit of money that I had into it. I would take all of my free capital and dump it into buying Activision Blizzard shares. No question. So you can let that one marinate. I'm going to blow my nose here real quick. No, there's Ace. You're a little late. This stream's a little sparse today. We're at like, what, 16? What is that? I put AMC in the title. Nobody wants to watch? This thing is going to be interesting to watch on the open A. Let's move that over just a little bit. You should have put AMC to the moon. Yeah, me saying that AMC is selling 11 million shares they don't want because I'm not pumping it. They're only going to be interested in me if I'm pumping it. No. I'll be the what is the word? I'll be the contrarian. I think that AMC is gonna fall today. He says I've been getting lazy as of late. It's definitely later than I'd expect to see it. And there was a decent amount of uptrend at the kind of the time when you kind of take. That's my job, contrarian. I'm actually kind of looking at it and I'm like, AMC is only actually down 5% pre-market because it had so much of an explosion first, you know. You definitely pick a topic and you'll take the opposite view. No. You should pick a topic. You should pick a topic that you understand a lot about and that you're passionate about, you know? This is the thing. I don't think that especially not to viewers, that just that an argument in and of itself is entertaining to them, right? It has to be like an engaging argument. It has to be one where it's like, oh yeah, both sides make good points, and it kind of makes me question if I really understand it the way that I think I do, and if I really still hold the belief that I did before. You know what I mean? No, I didn't. It was like that Monty Python sketch. And he was like, yeah, yes, you did. No, you didn't. Yes, you did. And then he's like, no, this isn't an argument. You're just contradicting. And then, what is it? Then he comes out with like a really good counter argument to what he just said there. I forget what it was. That is so funny though. But I don't think that people watch for that, you know? I think that people watch because they get an analysis that is a little bit more highbrow that they don't get in their typical retail trading circles. I think that that's why people watch, right? And that sometimes we're entertaining. Sometimes. So our argument on aliens is only interesting, I think, or only worth it because, like, it's a thing that's going on and it could potentially affect markets. No, they don't. It's for our hijinks. I don't know. I have to say, Ace, the viewership on the live stream seems so random to me. Really seems quite random. I can look at the YouTube videos and I have a pretty good idea of why certain videos do well compared to others. It always has to do with its keyword potential, which has kind of been hard because the things that I'm trying to teach you guys, that I'm trying to get through, don't necessarily have a lot of keyword potential. So, like in particular, I'm doing the 4-part series about developing your own strategies. I'm making that video, those 4 videos, because I've run into a lot of people doing this. So I had this one guy. He was making a strategy. There was some issues. There was like serious issues with his strategy. It was not working the way that he thought it was. And he had already tried trading it live. Can you believe that? And I don't think that that it's like he's dumb or anything like that. It was just like he hadn't considered that, oh yeah, I should probably run it through the gauntlet first before I give it live contracts to trade, you know? So that's why I'm making that one. But like, how do you get the keywords for it? Well, the next one I can call it like back testing pitfalls or something like that. I think that one could be good. But the research and development side, it's like it's hard to get those to pop up in the keywords to get a good title for that and everything. And then you have content that is really keeps them going, right? Whereas trading computer hardware, there's a lot of people searching for that. I had really good information to share that wasn't being shared on YouTube, and I had a really funny intro, so people stayed and watched through the whole thing. And that's why that video does so well. How is the Jigsaw Sim? Do you keep it after buying the cheapest package? Yes, you do. So Risk Manager, the difference between the different packages in Jigsaw, is education. So there's different levels of education. And to be honest with you, if you're starting out, I would start with, the education that comes with the most basic package, and there's a bunch of like YouTube content and stuff. You can try reading the No BS Day Trading book, which is like $70 or something like that. They that'll give you a lot to know. And then when you're still struggling, and if you think there's things about order flow that you don't understand, then maybe it's worth going back and buying the more sophisticated education. Okay. But there's no feature difference between them. There's the open, so a volatile open. I have naked calls in BB. Oh yeah, that's a tough one. Side note, if you rely on expensive indicators and they have a programming glitch, it can mess you up. Oh. So if you have a problem with an indicator, Ace, in NinjaTrader, the first thing that I would do is open up, if you go to File, I think I've shown you this before, but just to be sure, if you go to File, and there is a NinjaScript output, always have one of those open, and then if there's a problem, you can go to your output window and see if it outputs an error. So I got this one, it will output these gaps. So there was a small little gap there right after the open that was a buy. Even if it's a vendor indicator, it could show up in here, right? So that's the first thing is I would check is to see if it's outputting something to the window, because if it's outputting something to the window, it might give you a really good idea of why it's happening. Okay, do that again. You go to open up the control center, new NinjaScript output, and then the NinjaScript output window looks like this. Okay, and then have that window open when the error occurs, and see if something gets output into the window. Interesting that the treasuries chopped around as much as they did, and now they're just tumbling. Well, the first little bit of movement here in the E-mini has been slightly bearish. Man, great video, new at this. I'm still working on understanding the whole market, but would you appreciate a quick feedback on EOS chart? Are you talking about the cryptocurrency? So here's my take on the cryptocurrency. You're not going to like it. Bitcoin just experienced a market collapse, and it's probably going to be a similar market to what it was post 2017. So like I would expect that in the fall, in winter months of this year, that there will be another attempt. There will be another attempt to pump Bitcoin up, but that they won't get very far. Just like there was an attempt in the summer of 2018, and then that quickly sputtered out. I think that you'll probably see something like that, and then it will kind of turn into, difficult market for a couple of years until the next cycle. Doubly so, there's still tether risk going on here, because like there was filings that were required of them. There could be legal happenings going on with the tether as we speak that we don't know about. If there was, that could be something that could just completely decimate the market. So there's also that risk out there, right? So I personally don't necessarily want to be in a cryptocurrency unless it shows a really strong, it's kind of its own thing. You know, so for instance, one of the cryptocurrencies that I'm in is a Garlic coin, which is just a shit coin. Okay. But Garlic coin, it fell a little bit with the rest of the market, but it fell from like 15 cents to like 12 cents. You know what I mean? Like, it's not affected very much by Bitcoin because it's just so small, and the people that bought it just want to hold it. They aren't getting out. Makes sense. So if I'm going to be in a cryptocurrency, I would probably want that low Bitcoin correlation. But that said, there's probably going to be a bull market attempt. So you can also hold down shift and start in safe mode. Oh, didn't know that if you start NinjaTrader like that, it starts in safe mode. Well, the open has been bearish so far, but it still just looks like your normal E-mini open. Like the cumulative delta isn't even down. Oh man, now the treasuries though is unusual. They could be selling because of the treasuries. In fact, that move kind of scares me. Oh, it's the vendor. It's asking for a license key. Oh wait, that's weird, actually. Is it asking you to input a license key? Because that's not usually how it works. Usually how it works is the vendor authorizes you. There's no key. But perhaps they're using their own system. Yeah, especially since I work for them. Well, have you had a fallout with them? Because maybe they revoked your license. I can't really show it to you, but there's a little interface where everybody that has used the indicator will show up, and then you select them and you can set when their license expires. Just tell them. Just tell them then. Maybe what happened, because in the thing, what you can do, like what I do is, there's a license date on it, so you can say when it starts and when it ends. So probably what happened was they went in and they set you up with a license and they set it to expire, June 2nd or whenever, and then you're past that time period, then it says that you don't have a license anymore. So they would just have to they just have to go into the interface and extend it and set the expiration date much further in the future. Well, it doesn't look pretty in the S&P 500, guys. Send a text already. Yeah, well, there you go. I feel like maybe I should push my indicators more. I don't know, man. $5 subscription. You click the join button down below and you get my indicators. You can try them out at speculatorseth.com. 2 weeks free trial. I'm going to get out here. If you use a VPN, it can sometimes be a problem. Well, for the thing that we're talking about here for the license, it's based on your NinjaTrader instance. So it's hard to push indicators if you say everyday indicator trading doesn't work. Yeah, but my indicators aren't really indicators. That's here's my case. Hear me out, okay? Here's why I think that everybody that trades futures with NinjaTrader 8 should buy my indicator package. I say that again. I think that everybody that trades with NinjaTrader 8 should subscribe to my indicator package for $5 a month, okay? The dollar index. In order to view the actual dollar index, which is owned by ICE, you have to pay $100 a month for the data. And most retail traders don't trade on ICE, have no interest in it, and therefore do not get the dollar index. So how are you going to see the dollar? The dollar affects the valuation of everything that we trade. So it is impossible for you to make a fundamental analysis of any futures without understanding where the dollar is moving at that time. It is absolutely critical. I do not understand how people trade without it. And yet, that is what most retail traders are doing. Probably a lot of them would trade with the dollar index if they had it. Well, what I've done is I've just calculated it myself using the currency information that you get on the CME. Right? And now you get a chart of the dollar index. And there's some complexities with it because stuff happens interbar and everything so that you can get tails and wicks and stuff. But hey, it works and we can see what the dollar is doing, right? This morning, there has been a significant flight to safety in the dollar.
Block that.
That matters. I missed all that. My family thinks it's fun to come in during trading time and shoot the breeze. There you go. I'll say it again. You should buy my $5 a month indicator package if you use NinjaTrader 8 because you can see the dollar index, and the dollar affects the value of everything that you trade. Most retail traders don't look at the dollar index, not because they don't think it's important, but because they don't actually get the instrument. But because we have the ability to calculate it synthetically now with my indicator package, you have that ability. And I don't believe that there's anywhere else that has that at the moment. You also get advanced spread indicators so that you can just put the spread on your chart and it will automatically roll over when you roll over. And being able to see what the yield curve is doing, this is a key part of the macroeconomic picture. You're not going to understand completely what's going on with treasuries if you don't see what the spreads are doing. Or you can do spreads on equity indexes so you can see when the NASDAQ is moving relative to the S&P 500, for instance, right? Like those are the things in that package that are the most useful. Now, the other thing that's in that package that is really useful, but I don't know if everybody would have the skills to really take advantage of it, but I have these level 2 histograms. They're not like the level 2 histograms in Jigsaw. The level 2 histograms in Jigsaw are really great. But they have some algorithms to try and filter out some of the noise a little bit. And you can use them in robots. And I think I have them to the point where you should be able to do backtesting with them too, because it saves the historical data. So the other indicators that I have are great. But if you go to speculatorseth.com, I'll show you. I'm in salesperson mode. If you go to speculatorseth.com and you scroll down here a little bit, it shows you all of the indicators. So the inventory cost basis, this is another one that gives you a good idea of where the market makers are long and short from. Okay, these are my level 2 histograms. And then I've got the dollar index. We got volatility projected range is another one, so that you can use the options to estimate how far we're going to go. You have to be getting VIX data for that one to work, though. Okay. Then these spread indicators. Okay. This is, so I have things in my indicator suite that, in my opinion, you are going to have a very hard time. You are at a distinct disadvantage if you don't have these things. These are things that quite frankly should be built into the platforms. But you know what? I kind of wonder sometimes, like, why they're not built into the platforms. You know, like maybe there's some reason why. But hey, these are important things. And I'm only asking for $5 a month. You subscribe to the YouTube, $5 a month. I should be asking more. I bet you, because it seems to me like if you offer it for a really expensive price, then all of a sudden people are like, oh, it must really be worth something. But I priced it for $5 because I thought that was more fair to everybody, first of all, and because I want everybody to get it. I think that everybody that uses NinjaTrader should be using this synthetic dollar index thing. So that's my argument. I am way too cheap to spend $5. Also, me, I need those $300 ranges. $5 is fair. $5 is more than fair. So, and here's the other thing. So here, this just kind of, these are the indicators that are in it. There's a free trial. There's an installation thing. Tells you how to install it. And then there's full access. It talks about how to do that here, because you have to send me an email, basically. You have to send me an email with your machine ID. Okay. And your YouTube name so that I can see that you're subscribed. And sometimes if you ever get a message that, like, you know, you don't have access anymore, then you just remind me to update everything. And then up at the top here, there is detailed documentation. So in this detailed documentation, I explain in detail how each of these indicators work and how you use them. Look, there's a ton of stuff about the inventory cost basis here. A bunch of examples of how it tends to behave. Right? Oh, you also get the market depth tape. This is another really good one. Like, if you want to watch the order book, man, this is such a critical tool. It's mind-boggling to me that nobody else has done this. That I'm the only one out there that has a market depth tape of this nature, because you know, these times where you see like a big order pop in and everything, and like how much added on, and how do you know? Well, this tells you exactly how much they took on and where it's been, so you can track these big orders better. That's really, really cool too. Okay, I have very detailed documentation about it. You're still on NinjaTrader 7? Oh. But yeah, then I'm reminded indicators don't work. Well, and that is the key thing here, is when you look at all of these indicators, and these are not tools saying here is a line, and if price goes above or below that line, you should be long or short. So they're not indicators in the traditional sense of indicators. What is it? It's like a synthetic dollar index, right? Okay. I hope you guys will all understand how how the value of the denomination that you're trading in is changing would be useful to sorting out what the market is doing, right? It's not really an indicator, is it? So you say indicators don't really work, but what I sell aren't really indicators. Yeah. So that's my case. Another thing is something else that you guys don't do that I think would be way better is if you click the join button down below, there is the $5 subscription, but I also have a $1 subscription. And frankly, I would make it 1 cent if it would let me do it, so that you guys can use custom emojis. I have 4 custom emojis that we can use in here, and I think that they are fun and that it would make chat more fun. And if you have access to those, you should use them on a regular basis because they're funny. Those are correlators. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I want to add another indicator, which is like co-integration, but I'm not quite sure how I want to do it on that level. But are you going to make the indicators available for Sierra? It's possible. The issue, Octavius, is that so I did this primarily with a goal because there's some research that we want to fund, essentially. So that's one of the main reasons why I started selling them, was so that we could fund this research. I'm not giving away my edges here with these indicators, but I am giving you some tools that I think are like really essential to being able to trade. Okay. But I'm not getting to that goal yet. There's not enough subscribers to get to that goal. So when it comes to Sierra charts, the issue that I have is that I'm pretty sure that there's like 3 or 4 of you guys that would get it on Sierra charts, but I'm not sure that that would justify the amount of time that I would have to invest in order to make them work on Sierra charts. Especially since there's certain things about how the functionality works in Sierra charts that makes these kinds of indicators a lot more complicated to make. So I think I'm fully capable of making them, but it would just be a lot of investment on my part, and I don't think that very many people would get it. You know? Like I got to figure out this whole thing. Like, I don't want to be a salesperson. I think that's part of my issue, is that I just don't like being sales, because everybody else that does this sort of a thing, they turn their whole channel into selling their product, you know? And I don't want to be that. I think that there's so many people that they're really just trying to take advantage of you in the ecosystem around trading. And they just sell lies and total BS. They pretend to be a guru. I don't want to be pretending to be a guru. I'm just a guy that trades and streams his trading. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose, and I make absolutely no performance claims. In fact, I would say that in all likelihood that if you trade futures, you are going to lose money, right? I don't want to be playing that game that everybody else does. And this whole thing about like turning it into a game, give people all of these crazy promises about how this one thing will make you a millionaire, and all you have to do is pay me $1,000. Because there are so many. I have a list of these people that I've come across that do this, you know? I don't want to do that. So how do I sort out that from what I have built is different, and it actually is worth it to you. And so it is something that I'm going to provide, and I'm going to let you guys have. I'm just not going to give you illusions that it's like all you need, right? So how do you make that pitch? How do you effectively make that pitch to get people to buy in, right? Because I don't think that it has gotten as many subscriptions as it should. Now, maybe it's because people don't like the $5 subscription. Maybe I should just set it up so that you can buy it for $150 or $200 or something. That would be a way of doing it too. Actually, I've kind of been leaning in that direction. Because somebody asked me that. They're like, I don't really like the subscription thing. I would rather just, pay one time. Fair enough. That kind of reminds me. That gets me on another subject because you guys aren't saying much about it that anymore. So I'm kind of thinking like they must not have any comment on that one. So I got another one for you. It's getting time for me to switch brokers. So I've been on AMP. I've been winding this account down. I have a big wad of cash saved up for when I switch. But I'm unsure if I should go to NinjaTrader brokerage or Edge Clear. RJ says, I like the 5. If after 3 months I hate it, I'm out $15. So what? Exactly. I'm only buying if it's $50 a month. Like, that's the thing that's crazy. That's so funny about it. Is it seems to me that I would have more subscribers if I was charging $50 a month. But that's the thing that drives me nuts. As there's other people, even other people that I think are pretty reputable and have a pretty good product. I just don't think that the product that they're selling is worth what they're charging people. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to spend $50 a month, I better be getting like really solid analysis and news and things like that, you know? People need justification in the price for the value. Yeah, it's just if you charge more for it, they assume, oh, well, because it's worth more, it must actually be worth something. Since he only charges $5 for it, it must not be worth anything. Well, so I have to change that, I guess. Make it $20 a month, $50 a month. I made it cheap because my goal is every NinjaTrader, everybody that uses NinjaTrader gets it. That's my goal, because that's how useful I think that those things are. So I think that those are things that like everybody would want to have, and then NinjaTrader says, "Hey, we're going to add this into NinjaTrader," because that's what really should happen. It should just be built in. Anyways, so on brokers, so if I go to NinjaTrader, I can use my full NinjaTrader ecosystem license in NinjaTrader and use some of their indicators, which would be nice. And I would be able to use the robots to trade live. Although I still don't feel like the robots are ready. By the way, how's this robot doing today? Has he taken any trades? Has not. Where is he? Interesting that it hasn't taken any trades yet. It just hasn't taken any, though. So it seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. Just hasn't found a trade yet. Okay, but I'd be able to trade with the robots. If I go over to Edge Clear, we can set up a pool and we can get cheaper commissions. So, and maybe even at some point set up like a risk manager, which I think would be cool too. Right? So these are my choices. And I'm not sure which one I should do. What do you think? Hey, you know what? This would be a great time to do the poll. Let's create a poll. Ask a question. Broker. Okay, so if you come over to the YouTube window, you should see the poll. How does that work? What does that look like? Oh, it should pop up over your chat area. Oh, we got some news coming up here. ISMs. So these ISM numbers look roughly in line. With these surveys, I would be, I think the thing that happened yesterday, or was it Monday? Sorry, Tuesday. The thing that happened Tuesday was like those manufacturing numbers came out, and the headline numbers didn't really tell the full story. It wasn't until you got into the comments and stuff like that. So, could take it a second to sort it out. The treasuries just kind of stabilized where they were. 22 was where I got out at, by the way. Inflation is real. Don't believe it's transitory because I guarantee the CME won't roll back these price hikes. This is a courtesy follow-up to CME's communication on market data pricing changes effective April 1st and is updated. TT has updated CME market data fees due to exchange managed price increases. Yeah, that was a while ago. I'm getting really tired of the data fees just continuing to go up. The engulfing candle on the AMC. Well, I told you, I think it's going to go down, huh? I told you so. I told you. Did you think that it's going to end up lower than the previous day's low? Then that would be really crazy. That would be a true bloodbath, huh? By the way, the US ISM services gauge at 64 was the highest reading in history. Why is Roaring Kitty tweeting a picture of the Joker, or a video of the Joker from The Dark Knight? They were looking for a second like, oh, maybe they're going to go lower. Maybe I shouldn't get, but then backed up again. They're playing that game. I don't want any part of it. Okay, let's see. It doesn't tell you how many votes it got. 5 votes. 5 votes. I'm going to wait. So we got 26 viewers. You got 5 of you voted. So I'm going to wait another few minutes for you guys to vote. You come over to the window and in the chat and vote whether you think I should be Ninja Trader Brokerage or Edge Clear. Looks like 3 of you said Ninja Trader and 2 of you said Edge Clear. Oh, you know what? This is another question I have is, nope. YouTube is starting to roll out clips, but it hasn't come to our channel yet. Unfortunately. Oh, there you go. See, you guys evened it out. I'm figuring it will get back to 20 as people abandoned it to go back to GameStop, which would be a 4-1 win. Jeez. Like, the whole thing is just crazy to me. Like, when I go and I read Reddit and I'm sitting here like, okay, like, this company is offering shares. Like, they're making money off of you, right? Like, you realize that you're just throwing your money to them, essentially. Nobody seems to care. President Biden calling for a national month of action to vaccinate as many people as possible by July 4th. Okay. Good luck with that. Buy movie tickets instead, yeah. Everyone was wishing BB hard last night, so I'm staying away from it. But yeah, it's like they all think that it's about trying to pump it to the other person. That's not an effective long-term trading strategy, guys. Just warning you, it's not an effective long-term trading strategy. That one's gonna blow up in your face eventually. Here's how Wrath of Man reaffirmed Jason Statham's worth as an action star. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to go and watch it. Budweiser is offering free beer for vaccines. We will have 90%. Have you seen the incentives that they've been giving people? That like offering you donuts and things like everything that they've been offering to get you to be vaccinated or have been like unhealthy things. And then they enter you in a lottery. That's the other one. Is they enter you in a lottery. I'm sitting here thinking like, well, maybe everybody should hold out then. Maybe they will up the goodies. Like how much are they willing to pay to try and get people to be vaccinated? Cops weren't getting vaccinated? Well, the one that still confuses me is why they want people that have already had the disease to get vaccinated. That just does not make scientific sense. If you have natural immunity, why should you get the vaccine? Biden tries new strategy with moderates as frustration grows on the Hill. Let's read this. This is important. I think I know what they're going to say, though. And I don't think that it's going to work. President Biden this week took the rare step of calling out two Democratic moderates, Senator Joe Manchin and Christian Sinema, in a sign of growing frustration over stalled legislative priorities. Congressional aides say Democratic lawmakers have been reaching out to the White House in hopes that Biden would be more actively involved in efforts to convince Manchin, a key swing vote, to get behind the Democratic agenda. Manchin has expressed opposition to core elements of Biden's legislative priorities, such as raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, overhauling campaign finance and election laws, enacting a House-passed bill to expand background checks, and raising the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%. Sinema has also bucked her party at times, particularly on raising the minimum wage. Biden on Tuesday took to a new tack by singling out Manchin and Sinema as the two significant obstacles to his agenda, though he did not name them directly. Referring to himself in the third person, the president said Biden only has a majority of effectively 4 votes in the House and a tie in the Senate, with 2 members of the Senate who voted more with Republican friends. The remark struck a tone that Democratic senators thought was appropriate, particularly since it put Manchin and Sinema on notice, but in a way that didn't imperil future cooperation, even though they, in fact, do not vote more with Republicans than Democrats. I think he's angry, but he keeps it under control. I think he knows the consequences of lashing out at Manchin and Sinema are just going to be counterproductive, said Ross K. Baker, a professor of political science at Rutgers University who has served several stints as a university fellow. Yeah, that one's not going to work. Here's if I was Joe Biden, here's what I would be doing. I would find a piece of legislation that both sides of the aisle can support and has a widespread agreement, but still has a significant impact on the American people. And I would just go in and I would just pass that. So you gain nothing by trying to weaken Sinema and Manchin. I get their strategy. They're thinking, well, I need to put the pressure on them so that they will acquiesce. I think that what you should be doing is you should be saying this radical agenda that I've been pushing, that the American people aren't buying it and that I'm not going to get it passed. And ergo, in order for I should start playing the long game and I should pull a Bill Clinton. I should work with the other party. I should get a bunch of things passed so that I don't get crushed in 2022 and 2024. But they're not going to do that. They're going to say, oh, everything would be fine if you just let us pass our radical agenda. But the two reasonable, moderate people in Congress won't let us. That must mean that they're crazy. Not going to work. There are valid medical reasons to get the vaccine after you've had COVID. Maybe. So here's the thing. My understanding is that there have been 3 cases worldwide of reinfection. Like 3. Okay. And there's even some question as to whether or not that's actually what happened. But maybe you've already had it and you feel like, because like in Ace's case, I think what he's saying is like, I have a vulnerable family member, so like better safe than sorry. Okay, like I get that. But what I'm saying is, why would the government push so hard for people who have already been sick to get vaccinated? I think the reason why is because that's just another check, like that really all they care about is the end number, that they want that number to be as high as they can so that they can turn around and say, look, guys, look at how many people got the vaccine. We were so successful with it. I think that's why. Forgive me while I dismiss your amateur opinion. Go and look it up. Go look it up. What are you saying here, Tommy? Due to the Indian variant? The IRS was staffed enough to you're totally right about that, Eutherator. The government enforcement agencies around money issues, both in tax evasion and fraud, are like crazy understaffed. There you go. You're putting the burden of proof where it belongs. I don't know what you expect people to say when you say that, Ace. It's like, okay, I've gone and I've done research and here is what I found. And then you say, well, I don't believe you. And then it's like, okay, then go look it up for yourself. Because I know what you're going to find. And the thing that perplexes me, the thing that goes through my head is like, if you don't believe me, like, how many times do I have to get my information right on that sort of a thing for people to believe me? Why is it? Because it's not just you. It's like, I feel like anytime that I point something out that is like objectively true, and there's all these, nobody believes me. Is it just that all the people that believe me don't say anything, and it's only the people that don't believe me are the ones that speak up? Like, this used to happen on Facebook a lot too. I just, like, why don't they believe me? I don't make this shit up. I don't sit down and say, oh, what is it that I want people to believe? Let's just make up a news story that doesn't exist. Like, I'm pulling these things out of places. There's been studies on both on reinfection and on how much antibodies you get. There was this, I talked about this earlier. There's this study about if you got the vaccine, what your immunity looks like. And their conclusion was generally that the response to the vaccines was so good that we are unlikely to require boosters unless there's like a really huge mutation. So, yeah. No one should just believe a claim out of mouth. At that point, there's no difference between that and a ghost story. Well, sure. But if I'm citing somebody else as a source for something, then that's all I can do is I can cite that source, right? And at that point, it's pointless for you to say anything until you've gone and looked up that study, right? You get what I'm saying? It's like somebody's saying, okay, well, you have to prove it. And I was like, well, it's proven in this third party thing. And then it's like, well, if you don't go and look up this third party thing, then you can't prove it. And if the person's not willing to look up that third party thing, then you can't progress the conversation anything at that point, right? At that point, there is no difference between that and a ghost story. So look it up. Yes, agreed. If you had a peer review, there's a peer reviewed study about it. I personally am too lazy to look it up, but yeah, you just do limit your search to the last 2 weeks. You definitely find it. No official boosters currently, but U.S. Surgeon General said to prepare for a booster within a year. Yeah, well, it's really interesting, Trade Trotter, because that study came out, but when you look at the vaccine guys, they definitely appear to be preparing for a booster. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they push booster shots anyways, but I think the evidence that I've seen is pretty conclusive that unless there is a significant mutation, again, that boosters won't be needed. Similarly, though, that study, wait, too lazy to look it up. Why are you taking a page out of my book? I'm trying to trade. I don't know. I get tired of looking things up for people, man. Sometimes, one of the things that really irritates me is like, I'll see a story and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting piece of information that's going to come up in the future. I should remember this. And so you should save it on a notepad, so that you can find the story again. And then everybody forgets about it. And a year later it comes up again and you're like, oh yeah, but what about this one story? And then it's really hard to find for some reason. Or sometimes I'm finding that when it comes to news that these news organizations, they do not keep stuff permanent. It's really crazy, man. You think, oh, this now it's on the internet, it should be there forever, but it's not. They'll delete the stories after a certain amount of time or change them, and it's really frustrating. As it happened a lot when it was I remember stories the media had done about Republican politicians that were big storylines that the media pushed really hard that it's attack angles, and then you turn around and you start seeing it to Donald Trump and you're like, oh, this is the exact same thing that they did to Mitt Romney, but by that time most of the stories are gone. It's like it all went down the memory hole.
Bye.
My doctor said they, not himself included, are going to try to include the booster shot with the flu shot.
Your AMC feed infidelity at the bottom right is going to give me a seizure, right? Dude, like, so I set this up so that it's only giving me 5-second data, but it is not doing that. I don't know how you, like, if I go to settings, general, market data update frequency, 5 seconds, auto update. And it doesn't do that. It just continually updates. And you're right. AMC in particular is going like absolutely bonkers. Part of it is because they're trading in sub 1 cent increments. I wonder if I can change that. Hold on, let me look through the settings. I have to be careful because some of the settings reveals private information, but general trade, positions, watch lists, groups. Option chain, news, alerts. There's got to be a way to change it. Just change the percentages? Like, I don't think there's any way for me to change that bit up there. There's settings in here. Price access, show high, show tabs, extended hours. See, like their settings are very basic. That is so annoying, isn't it? I get it. No, the grid on the left is what I'm pointing out, not saying to change anything, just funny. Oh, yeah. Just look at how much volume is going through. It's interesting, like, if they totally puked on the open and then look, somebody came in and bought the dip. I think they're going to lose, though. I think I still want to be short. By the way, the E-mini did recover. So, where did I get out at? I got out at 78. Oh, man. Okay. So it was the right decision. We went down 10 points, but then we did recover. But by that point, I was kind of like, the thing was I felt like I had done such a good job on the treasury trade that I wasn't really interested in the E-mini trades. So I took those two. I suppose that's okay. Ace rode that one down. It's a little messy down at the bottom, too. I don't know. Funny. Okay, so now I'm realizing that the AMC bottom coincided with the bottom of the rest of the market, too. What else is going on? Tesla and ARK are still down 1%. GameStop is down 7%. Freeport McMoran is down 3%, which is copper. That's not good. Bed Bath & Beyond down 22%. What? Oh, my rare earth resources is 192. That sucks. They were $2 yesterday. Yeah, that's okay. SNBR is apparently also enjoying the short squeeze, huh? But my Goldman is up, so wait, does that mean that I'm profitable? That I'm profitable today? No, because I lost too much on silver. Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
My rare earth resources would have canceled out the Goldman Sachs anyways. Okay. Not good enough. I need to add. I should probably use that last little bit of cash, but there is some serious fighting going on in AMC. The hedgies are getting bloody. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing: it's just the same thing with GameStop, right? How many shorts are left? How can you look at that thing yesterday and say, like, oh, the shorts aren't even close to being washed out? Like, 161,000 shares have already traded. Like, how many are there? Let's go to Morningstar. Morningstar short interest. 94 million shares. Oops. $136.4 million shares versus 1.5 million shares. Right? Like, and just saying. Wait, am I reading that? Oh yeah, because AMC has traded 162 million shares today. Okay. So there's 94 million shares short. They've traded far more than that. And that's just within 1 hour of trading today. And they traded way more than that yesterday, okay? Anybody that is still short this thing wants to be short. Like, I don't think they can win this. I think, especially with AMC is going to continue to offer shares, because what's going to stop them from doing it again tomorrow? In the interest of transparency, my indicator has been solved. I can't believe what people will pay for. Right? Well, so the thing that I want to know, here's what I want to know. How many people do they get to buy it? And how do they get them? Because I think with my YouTube channel, I get a decent amount of publicity. But I don't get that many. I've gotten a dozen or so subscribers. Is it just the case that they're rare overall, and if I just increase the price, I would still get just as many, and so I should just increase the price? I don't get it. Makes sense that theaters are going the way of brick and mortar, not dead, but wait, now I agree too, dude. Like, having AMC is just another short selling fund that needs to get wrecked by Wells. But who's left? Like, who's left to wreck? I don't know. I have no idea, but the guy who pays me to consult called from his vacation home in Costa Rica. What? Yeah, I doubt that he's making his whole living just off of selling the indicator, though. We need to squeeze AMC out of its own stock. Oh, I get you. Dude, I just... No, no one's going to theaters en masse anyways. I question it for sure. Because here's the thing. I have HBO Max, and I've been watching movies at home, and like... being able to see high quality movies that would normally just be released in theaters, but now I'm watching it at home, is pretty cool. And I'm starting to realize that the number of situations where I really want to go to a movie theater to see a movie are few and far between. He sure isn't a trader, that's for sure. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder. So like, I don't know how much they charge for it, but I'll just use general numbers that I kind of see around from like other YouTube channels, for instance, is like they'll offer an indicator package for $1,000. You pay one time and it's $1,000. Okay. So, if you wanted to make, good $5,000 a month, you have to sell 5 of them. You sell 5 of them, and then that puts you in 6-figure profits per year. But are they really getting 5 subscribers per month? Because when I do this, I'm offering it for $5, and I get maybe 1 or 2 per month. But maybe it's because I'm just not doing enough marketing. Maybe if I, was paying a ton of money to advertise it on Google, then I would get tons of people pay for it or something. Or maybe the issue is the YouTube subscription. So Teslas are a pretty liquid market here. So maybe he sells cars or something. I don't know. Like, there's definitely a market for selling indicators. Like, people definitely I don't know if they're making their whole living off of it, but it kind of makes you wonder, because I'm sitting here like, I got some pretty good stuff that you don't get anywhere else that like everybody should have. I don't get why. I don't know. What do you think I should do? Do you think I should go and just start offering it for $100? You could probably make some bank marketing and basically probably. I have a bunch of stuff that, yeah, you should charge more. Well, I'm thinking $100 for it. Thinking $100 for it. I think I got a couple of things that I'm going to add. Like I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was saying, well, now what I can do is I can change it to one-time $100. I can keep the $5 subscription thing, right? Because that would be like 2 years worth. I don't know. If it's for $500, must be amazing, right? That seems like the way that people seem to treat it for sure. I'm not sure if that's how my audience should treat it, but like, there's probably a sweet spot. If you make it too cheap, people might think that it's not very good. But here's where I have an issue with it. Here's where I think that there's got to be more problem than that. Oh, by the way, let's end this poll. 19 votes, and you guys were pretty close, but Edge Clear came out by 53%. That's curious. The thing that bothers me is it's $5, and my channel is very closely associated with NinjaTrader, but even amongst my existing subscribers, I didn't get very many people. That's the thing that kind of makes me wonder, like, it must be more than that. But then the other side of that is I haven't marketed it very strongly. So we could just say that it's just because you're not marketing it well. We could say that the whole thing, it has nothing to do with the price, and probably we could increase it, but what if we just kept it at $5 and we just marketed it better? Would you trust a $5 Udemy trading course? I I would not care what the price was. I would care what it was that they were giving me. So here's the thing. I'm not the kind of person that is browsing online and I see, oh, here is a course to do X thing and it's $500. And I go, well, if it's $500, it must be really great. I want to go in and buy it. No, like what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say, I need a thing that tells me about X, like a book. Because say, I want a book that talks about market microstructure. And I go and look at all of the ones, and then I finally come across the thing that has what I want, and then I get it, you know? So to me, why should somebody buy it or not should be they understand what's in it and why it's valuable. I think the price value to the general consumer base does consider price in relation to too cheap and too much. $5 maybe is just too cheap. But I don't know. Let's shelve that one. This is only $8.35. I feel like I've been sitting here talking for like an hour, but it's only been 10 minutes. You're giving people too much credit. No. Let's focus it this way. Let's keep everything the same, and let's figure out how to market it better first. Right? We market it better, and then we start getting a bunch of people coming in and getting it, and then we'll increase it. Oh, you know what? I never turned on my camera, so you can't even see me. Yeah, I mean, look at where your trading dude makes bank from being a quote-unquote guru. Yeah, that's for sure. But I don't want to be like here's the thing with that one on Etherator is I could come in, I could change things up. Like I could change my channel and I could re-gear it towards making stock recommendations and trying to trade a certain type of stocks, like high float stocks. And I could probably come in and I could probably make pretty convincing trades every day. And then when you do poorly, you just kind of mark it off as not a thing, right? And I channel would probably be more popular, probably would make a decent amount of money off of it. Maybe even I could quit my job just off of the guru status. But here's why I don't do it. And it's not just because I feel like that it wouldn't be ethical. Or that I hate it when everybody else does that. You know what I mean? No. The thing that bothers me about that is that I think that it would have a negative impact on my trading. Like, in the end, my primary goal is to get better at trading. The YouTube channel helps me get better at trading because we collaborate. I find information, you find information, we bring it back, and we get new things. And we talk about stuff every day. And you guys bring up stuff every day, even if it's just like news and influences in the market on that day. That we collaborate on. And so that helps us build our edge and that helps us become better traders, right? If I were to go down that other route, I would, trying to trade meme stocks, essentially. I know that wouldn't be a very effective trading strategy in the long run. And I know that it wouldn't result in more effective trading by me, right? And then then your success becomes a prison. You've had all of this success. These people, they expect you to continue to trade stocks when you want to, do something that's more consistent or that's more serious trading. You get what I mean? So that's why I'm never going to do that. I'm going to put the stuff that I teach on the channel, I'm not going to give away my edges. And the things that I teach on the channel are geared more towards getting you guys to a certain level where you can contribute more. That's really what those videos are all about, right? I'm trying to get you to miss the more common fallacies that trap retail traders, so that you can see the markets as they really are, so that you can then come into the stream every day and contribute. You can just do what Sykes does and throw out the occasionally vague observation. I mean, I do kind of do that though, don't I? I don't know. I don't make hard calls very often, do I? Like the thing with AMC today is a pretty rare. Well, and in the treasuries, when I have a really strong opinion on where the treasury is going to go, I try not to tell you guys, but I did say in the opener, like, I think that they're going to sell the treasury today, didn't I? But I try to avoid making hard calls because I don't want to look stupid. But that one in AMC was like a no-brainer. They're going to sell it. Of course they are. How can you have a company do a second round of share offerings, offering 11 million shares and be like, oh, I want to buy more? Oh, on a short squeeze, like you realize that the company is basically, they're saying, oh, okay, there's a short squeeze. What I should do is offer shares so that those shorts can get out. Right. And then the volatility in the stock goes away because I don't necessarily like that. And I make money. Huh? Oh, retail traders, not the only ones that can make money off of something like this. The company can too. And at your expense, frankly. At your expense, frankly. Easy call. I paid 13G for next gen trading software in 2008. I cringe, almost puke when I think, oh my gosh, dude, that's crazy. Yeah, we all do, but there's a difference when it's an opinion towards finding opportunity and an opinion towards feeding a fan base. Yeah. Do you know if CQG is getting market by order data? My understanding is that they are going to have it soon. That within the next few months, in fact, like it's on its way. MBO data is coming. It kind of makes me wonder how long all of the platforms will ignore it. But it might not be a thing, because the issue with MBO data is it's way more expensive. I sure miss Jason Bond's commercials. the Raging Bull guys. Oh man. I backward engineered next gen linear regression indicator for nothing. Yeah, a linear regression is actually an interesting thing. I'm starting to notice that algorithmic traders actually very much like the linear regressions. And when I've gone and I've done back testing, there was like a very, very slight edge in it. Wasn't enough to be worth trading, but I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so like if you combined this with a bunch of other things, you might have something. I wonder if they have talked the warden into giving them access to the market yet. I bet they're teaching trading in prison to get a license. I don't know, man. Like here's the thing. I took this test the other day. It was from the Charisma on Command guys, and because he is starting to turn into the marketer too. You notice this? It drives me crazy. Not that people are offering services and making money, because maybe their services are worth it. And with Charisma on Command, I wouldn't be surprised if it was worth it. But the thing that drives me nuts about it is how cookie cutter it is. It's like it's the same web that it's like he went and he took a course on how to market this sort of stuff, and just kind of copied over onto somebody else's template, you know? Really annoying. But anyways, it was a course on what is like your persuasion style. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know what that is, but I don't know what the different persuasion styles are. But then as soon as it gave me the result, it was like, no, duh. They just said that people, that you're persuasive because people trust you. And isn't that the thing that everybody has always said on this channel right from the beginning, is that you're being honest and you don't try and sell us all a pile of crap. And that's why we keep coming back, because you're trying to be serious about it while still acknowledging that, that what we're doing is hard and not making some ridiculous promise. And that's why what you say has value. I'm like, absolutely. If I were to go down a path where I ever jeopardize that, it would be the end of me, I think. Because if I go out and I start making the kind of marketing that like Jason Bond and them did, I don't think anybody would believe me. You know what I mean? It just says something like window trader, simple, market profile only, $285 a month, rarely updated since 2003. It's a hard life for the honest man in a grifter's world. That's it. That seems like it is, isn't it? And you don't plug 101 different socials. But I do, Brent. I have, you see it? Wait, have you ever looked at the actual start screen? Stream is starting. Join us on social media. I have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Discord. I do. You know what? I should. Okay, wait. How do I have this set up? Oh no, I made a picture of that. I wonder. I wonder. Not obnoxiously so. Yeah. Well, I should on stream take the opportunity more often, as Win always constantly reminds me, to plug the things. One of the other problems that I'm having is that there's so many different things. It's like, what do you focus on? You know what I mean? I don't know. What I should focus on really should be speculatorseth.com and the mugs. Okay, because these are the two best things that I have for you. That, you know, where you get something from. Hey, like, follow me on Twitter. That's great. If you guys want more of me, I don't post on Twitter a ton. I don't post on the Facebook a ton. So me probably putting a lot of promotion into those things is not so great. Okay, but this mug, hey, Trader's Gonna Trade. I think it's hilarious. It's just a mug that says Trader's Gonna Trade on it. It's reasonably priced, and it helps the channel out. And if you're here every day, I feel like that you should have something to kind of identify that, because you as part of this community, like that's a part of your identity. It really is. Like, you spend 2 hours a day doing this. You know, I think that you should have something to show for it, to remind you of it, you know? So Trader's Gonna Trade mug. That's why we created those. And then my indicator suite, $5 a month. If you click the join button down below, that's how you join. But you can download the indicators from speculatorseth.com, and it includes some indicators that I believe are absolutely essential. And one of the reasons why I use NinjaTrader and why I wouldn't just move over to using Jigsaw exclusively is because I literally cannot trade without those things, and I frankly don't understand how anybody trades without them. And I think that when I was trying to trade before I made those tools for me, that it was, what I was doing was stupid. So, yeah. Speculatorseth.com if you haven't checked that out and you're on NinjaTrader. There you go, Ether. Merchant subs is a good model, maybe push towards a Kramer style of show if you really crave changing it up. Well, so I am going to change things up, I think. We'll see. So here's the deal. So we've got 2 more videos to make on the development stuff. And I've only been making a video every other week. He bought more AMC. I just warn you, Prof. Mister. I'm not bullish on AMC today. I am not. I think that with the company behaving as it is and offering shares again, that this is not something that's going to last much longer, and I want to be taking profits. Okay. Anyways, sorry. What am I going to change? Okay, so we've got the 2 videos on development that left I have to do. This testing one is really big. But then there's also the after that, the maintenance one, because there I'm going to share some deep stuff. I mean, things that I've kind of talked about before, but I think I'm going to go into the math of it a little bit to explain to people how you can calculate how many shares you should be trading if you really have something that works, okay? So there's those 2. Then I have a video that I want to make making fun of the gurus that basically explains the fallacy in the idea that the way to make money in the market is following somebody else, right? So there's that video. Then I want to make a video about the routine, the daily routine. So I've got a couple like must-haves. Let me check my list here really quick. So there was maybe some more. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, yes, that's right. I have to make the day trading nirvana video, which is basically the overarching philosophy that I would, that I want to encourage. Like if I was going to write a book, I would call it Day Trading Nirvana. That's what I'm going to call it when I write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm kind of writing a book, but I'm lazy and I don't spend a lot of time on it. Okay. So yes, health tips, and then also a video on is day trading for you. I've made videos on this subject before, but I want to present it like that topic. A book on what? So the book is going to be a thorough listing down of market information that if you're going to day trade that you should know. So, oh man, I've written like a huge outline. A lot of it is like the different products and so for every product, there's things about that product that are unique. Okay. So for instance, treasuries, they do the auctions, right? The treasury auctions is the thing. There's other things like when they announce how much they're going to offer to the market. That's important too, right? So it's going to be that sort of stuff. Or like everything that you need to know about the different reports. So a lot of this is information that you could look up yourself online and things. But it's going to be like this thorough compendium all in one spot. And it's not going to be a book that's like, here's this chart patterns. I'm going to talk about chart patterns and stuff, but it's going to be something that's like, if I was going to make a beginner course for traders that were trading at a bank, this is the stuff that I would tell them. Okay. So it's that kind of a book. But it's a lot of work. Okay. You get to dig all that information up and everything. So I want to make a book. Anyways, so I got those videos and then I've got the Is Day Trading for You. I think that's a video that could do well. Once I've gotten there, and maybe even before I've gotten there, that's when I kind of am like, okay, that was the important things that I felt like I needed to get out to you guys. So now I can start doing whatever I want. not whatever I want, but at that point I'm going to start experimenting with more current videos. Is it current the right word? But basically videos more about things that are going on right now, right? So they would be more analysis type videos at that point, right? And I would like to get to the point where I can make more videos. Not only one video a week. I should really get back to one video a week, but it's hard with the kid. But getting into like doing one every day, like if I can get efficient enough about it. So we'll see how the teleprompter go. That's kind of the big question. But if I'm using the teleprompter and I write scripts out, can I push out more videos? How efficient can I get at it? So my goal right now is to get more efficient at making the videos and then start putting out more content and more content about things that are currently going on. Can you let me know what you think of KHC? Never heard of it. Is it a stock? Kraft Heinz. Okay. So here's what I can tell you about that. I don't know anything about the company and what its current situation is. First thing that I would say is that if you're going to buy a stock, you should always look into like, what is it really worth? Okay. The best way to do this is here, let me find it. Oh man, what is it? It's called like Wall Street ST or something like that. I have to go to my Gmail. Simply Wall Street, that's right. Simplywall.st. Okay. So that's the first thing. Look it up in simplywall.st. Okay. Second thing is, this is a consumer staple brand. Okay. So you should think about that. Consumer staple brands are not necessarily what you want to have at this part of the cycle. So we are at a part of a cycle where interest rates are low and are likely to be low for a long time. But we are kind of on the increasing phase of it. Okay. So that means that you want to be in either the things that really benefit from low interest rates, basically tech, or you want to be in the things that are going to benefit when interest rates start rising, which is going to be like banks, materials, miners, that sort of a thing. Okay. So that's what I'll say about that one. MRCI is a free resource to see market correlations. Gold is never exactly inverse to markets. Gold, all their correlations are all over the place. Most people talk about gold and silver as a ratio to one another, but I wonder if the beta of gold to indexes is a good wind up, wind down indicator. Okay, so here's the deal with that one. Yeah, it's simplywall.st. Because of Basel requirements, their gold acts a certain way. Does that make sense? Like, they have to own certain types of assets and they have to own a certain amount and certain things. So if you're going to own gold, there's like certain requirements that relate to the interest rates. And this is something that I don't completely understand. But here's the important part about it, is that they're moving off of Basel. Basically, they've decided that the current liquidity requirements aren't as effective as they'd hoped, and they're kind of moving to a different system, and that is going to decouple gold. So sometime by the end of the summer or in the fall, you may notice that gold starts to behave a little bit differently. It may not be as inversely correlated to interest rates as it used to be. And who knows what goes on from it. I think that in the short run, there could be negative impacts from it because it might mean that certain people don't trade it as much. But then it could also mean that it could become a more effective hedge against inflation in the long run. So that's the thing on that one. It's time for me to get going, guys. I'm going to leave that title the way that it is. There you go. Past success is no indication of future performance. Exactly. Especially in an efficient market. Okay, guys. Gotta go. Stay profitable, friends.